Aloha Manga Club chapter 1316 of Hajime no Ippo has finally landed, much like the titular Makinoichi Ippo himself. Now we open up the chapter with Kappa, Kimura, that is a mouthful to say, and the others sitting there trying not to laugh at the new weird hairdo that has befuddled Kimura's head after his tragic weight loss. Everyone is sitting there having a good time, trying to figure out whether or not they can hold back the laughter that is inside of them. Now, Kimura thinks it is totally impossible for them not to laugh, but Takamuras is actually the one who says, I can understand the true hells of weight control. To laugh at you is to laugh at myself. I can never laugh at myself. So Kimura sits there and he's doing his absolute best to make Takamura laugh by pulling his hat on and off, on and off, on and off, to reveal this baldness underneath to see if he can finally break Takamura. And Kimura says, you are very, very close. But Takamura goes into this long rant of, don't look down on me. If it's a joke, I'll laugh all I like. However, I could never laugh at a man who sacrificed himself for the sake of a match. To do so would be to laugh in the face of boxing itself. It'd be an absolute travesty. I decree I shall not laugh. Now, I could be reading a little bit too deep into this, but we don't get to see Takamura's face while he's saying this rant. And to me, I think we're going to start to see this reflected later on. He's actually even said this before. He doesn't laugh at people who sacrifice their all in a match, which I totally enjoy. It kind of shows some continuity in the character of Takamura, that even though he can joke from time to time, he is serious when the moment and the occasion calls. But Kimura does not believe him. You're just going to laugh at me behind my back. Takamura is so confident he will not laugh. He says, anyone who laughs will either be deported or you'll be fined $9,500 or 1 million yen. Kimura says, I see. Well, if you're willing to go that far, I guess I believe you, although. And he pulls his wig on and off, trying to make them laugh. And finally, Takamura is used to it. He was so close to laughing. Kimura finally almost beat Takamura in something that was not boxing related. But it's all Ippo's fault. However, Takamura says that is okay because even though this is Ippo's fault, he's already been deported to the land of Mexico, but he should be on his way back. Now, Ippo's crew is sitting there sad, and they're thinking, it's just hearing about Mexico. It makes us feel lonely for Ippo. We want him back. But at that exact moment, Takamura looks over the railings and sees the monk himself, the god of the storm, Ippo, returning, and Ippo says, Viva Mexico! Runs and dashes up the stairs. He says, Adios, gracias. And everyone says, Master, welcome back. Takamura kind of notes he's a full-on Mexico-phile now, meaning that he is totally in love with Mexico, much like many Americans are in love with Japan, even though they've only spent very minimal amount of time there. And Ippo's crew says, we've been practicing hard for a while we were waiting for you to get back. And Ippo says, this is just so nostalgic. And Aoki says, you've only been gone for a few days. You shouldn't feel so nostalgic. But Ippo starts handing out these masks that he brings them. These luchador authentic masks. And they're all really cool looking. Some of them are callbacks to different manga and anime, actually, if you take a look at a few of them. I at least see some inspiration that I've seen in a few manga in the past. There's a Kamen Rider one. There's a cat one. There is half a face, like it's white over here, but it's like brain and muscle and sinew over here, and it's kind of interesting. There's one that kind of, if you look at it closely enough, looks like the Ipin from Katekyo Hitman Reborn. It looks a little bit similar to that. And Takamura is wearing a gigantic eagle's head while carrying what looks to be 2 knives or 2 flags, and that is apparently a reference to another main character from Shangri-La Frontier. And it looks really cool. However, Kimura is wearing a kappa, and everyone looks so ridiculous. But finally, Kimura takes it off, and you see the absolute hell that he's been put through. His bald head, he looks exactly like the kappa, only slightly more serious, and everyone breaks down laughing. And Kimura starts yelling, "1 million to you, and to you, and to you. All of you need to pay up." And Itagaki says, "It's like he evolved. I couldn't hold back. He's a Russian nesting doll." I'm all just laughing so hard. And Ippo is just happy to be back by his crew. We flip the script and we get to see Mushiba sitting there talking with his sister, and she got a Plu mask, which is in total reference to one of my favorite other authors. Wow, my speech is stuttering right now, but I really do enjoy Plu from Rave Master. It's just really, really, really fun to see this kind of in here. It made me smile a little bit. And Mashiba says, for bringing that mask back, he should be deported. However, Ippo comes up to the coach's office and he says, and he's asked, did Mexico prove to be of use in the end? Ippo says, being surrounded by that fire, I think anyone who was brought up in that ring would become strong. I think I have a little bit better of an understanding why Mexico is the kingdom of a lighter weight class. And you can kind of see that this might not be the response that Kamogawa wants. It says, although the one who had really an important job was Cindo, and he was nothing short of amazing. On the way back, I asked him what about his match with Ricardo, and he says, I'll figure it out. So all that Ippo can do is wait for him to see what happens. And coach asks and says, he may have beaten Gonzalez. Ricardo is another ballgame entirely, don't you? Says, I said the same thing too, but if it's Cindo-san, I think he might be able to. Ippo starts to get this look in his eyes, this wistful look, and this is what's making my heart kind of do one of these. It's fluttering right now. He says, if it were me on the plane back home, I must have fought him 100 times in my head. I was beaten one-sidedly every time. There's a pause, and Ippo says, after number 95, I thought that if I stuck to him and pulled him into a punching match, there was a small glimmer of hope. If I just threw out punches with reckless abandon, even if I just hit his shoulders and elbows, eventually he'd get fed up and leave an opening for me to push through. And the coach says, in the 101st time, Ippo doesn't respond right away. He kind of waits to say, it seems like if you think and think and think about it to death, even if it's a match that everyone says is impossible to win, there's even one hint you might be able to force open a path. Your opponent is human too, and as long as you can keep your body and mind moving, nothing is impossible. And the coach just kind of sees this light in his eyes, like Ippo's finally learned what is really, really important. And Ippo says, and that's what I learned. And that's what I will tell newcomers, both present and future. Thank you, coach, for letting me go to Mexico and see. Kamogawa says, seems like you learned something at all. And we get this nice little line that says, are the disciples' true intentions hidden under a mask as well? And if I'm honest, taking a look back at the page, Ippo says, on the plane, I must have fought him 100 times. You can see that he really is craving this fight with the one and only Ricardo Martinez, the king of the kings. This is something that I don't think we've ever heard from Ippo. He's found this new goal, much like he had when Date-san was still alive and active. He's finding this person to chase after because he's never really had that. After he got done with Japan, he was chasing after Miyata. And after Miyata kind of fell through, he didn't have a goal person. And that's what Ippo really does chase. He wants to compare himself to the strongest, but if he doesn't see the person as a target, he sees somebody as much higher than himself, he won't fight quite as hard for what he's going to get. And I'm really excited to see what happens. I'm thinking by the end of maybe this year, we'll get to see Ippo return to the ring just a little bit, maybe do some sparring, and really start to fight Ricardo in his mind. I want to see it climb back because we are halfway through the manga after 30 years. That is ridiculous. That means I'm going to be 56 by the time that this ends. Hopefully he just means like story-wise, not just like chapter-wise, because like 2,600 chapters is an insane amount, and I don't know if he'll be alive that long. But let me know what you thought of this chapter down in the comments below. I, for one, am excited. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe for more Hajime no Ippo related content. And for everyone new and old, welcome and welcome back. It's your boy Lohali, and I'll see you next video.